What's up everyone, Chase here and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be covering one of my most highly requested topics, which is the best maps for every dually in Splatoon 3. While every map discussed in this list is ultimately just my opinion, I do want you to know that I actually reached out to some top players for each weapon to get their opinions, just to avoid any potential bias that I might have. Also, just a warning, there is a decent amount of overlap with some of the maps and the different dualies, so I do apologize for that, but hey, weapons in the same class are going to share similar strengths. I'd really appreciate if you guys could give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Also, be sure to join my Discord server, cause we need more people in there. Alright, let's get started. So first up, we have the Splat Dualies. This is the most basic and straightforward dually in the game, and it mainly thrives on stages where it can abuse terrain and help close distance. A perfect example of this would be Umami Ruins. This map has a ton of different blocks and pillows you could use as cover, which you can simultaneously roll out from to create some surprising plays. Another great Splat Dualie map is Inkblot Art Academy. The stacks in mid can serve as some great terrain for you to dodge roll and take advantage of, and this unpaintable ramp to get to the plat can be quickly rolled across, which can catch a lot of opponents by surprise. Just be careful on the far left and right sides of the map though, as being down in this low area can be pretty rough for Splat Dualies, especially when your opponents have the high ground. But without a doubt, the best Splat Dualie map in the entire game is Mahi Mahi Resort. No, I'm not kidding. Sure, it's pretty easy to roll into the water, but this list is under the assumption that you're an experienced player who doesn't make mistakes like this too often. Once again, there's a ton of different cover and terrain to hide from opponents or roll out from. The weapon is really strong on the left and right sides of the map especially, since it's really easy to draw attention here. Not to mention, if you're using the vanilla kit, this map has a ton of great crab tank spots for retaking and holding. Splat Dualies are solid on a lot of maps, but Mahi Mahi is certainly the best. Next, we have the Dapple Dualies. As you all know, Dapple's weakest attribute is its range, so this weapon is going to thrive on maps with a lot of slopes and walls, and a lot of tight spaces. Macomart has always been a solid map for Dapples, since range doesn't matter too much here. It's a very enclosed map, so it's much easier to sneak up on and approach enemies compared to some other wide open maps. People are often bunched up on the middle stacks, where Dapples can easily shark and get a quick kill. Remember that Dapples have the smallest dodge roll distance of any dually, which can be viewed as a positive and a negative. Here, it's certainly a positive, since you're able to dodge roll on these narrow stacks safely without rolling off. Also, remember that Dapples have pretty decent spread mode RNG, so even if you're in a spot where you're not able to dodge roll, you can still reliably pull out a kill. Humpback Pump Track is solid for Dapples, purely because of the slopes. Some of the longer range dualies like Gloogas and Dousers really struggle on this map, as trying to aim and compensate for the curved terrain can be a bit awkward. But the short range of the Dapples actually works to its benefit here. You do still need to be careful on areas like the plat though, as it's mostly flat terrain with little to no cover. Ironically, Dapples thrive on what's considered to be one of the worst maps in the game, Flounder Heights. This is for similar reasons to the previous two maps, so I won't go on about this too much. There's a lot of narrow spaces, a good amount of slopes and walls, and a lot of great shark spots. Plus, the blue Dapples have Reef Slider, which is low-key not bad for splat zones on this stage. Just remember, the golden rule with Dapples is that the main weapon excels on maps where range doesn't matter much, and it sucks on maps where range is important. Now, taking a complete 180 from the Dapple Dualies, we have the Dualie Squelchers. This weapon favors really long and wide maps, especially ones with grates or other uninkable terrain. Remember, Dualie Squelchers are the only dually that's super mobile with its dodge rolls, which you can really take advantage of on uninkable ground. Crab Lake Capital fits this description perfectly. There's a lot of wide, open space in the mid and spawn areas, and they can pretty much harass any other weapon on these grates with its mobility. Just always be mindful of your ink tank on grates, because we both know that the Dualie Squelchers are pretty ink hungry. Another great map for this weapon would be Museum di Alfonsino. The custom Dualie Squelchers are great here especially, as you can lay beacons on the moving spinner grates, which can be a huge annoyance for the enemy team. Plus, the map is generally pretty wide and has verticality, which really plays to the Squelchy's strengths. As painful as this is to say, the best map in the game for Dualie Squelchers is, without a doubt, Wahoo World. Once again, this map has some great beacon spots, such as below mid here, because enemies will have to go very out of their way in order to destroy them. This stage has some great spots to draw attention, with a lot of space to back up and not get caught in a corner. You can quickly roll across the glass on the sides of mid, and you can even roll across these uninkable structures on splat zones. Next up, we have the Glooga Dualies, which share the exact same maximum range as the Dualie Squelchers. And unsurprisingly, Gloogas tend to be good on the same maps, for similar reasons. Sure, Gloogas might not have the mobility of the Dualie Squelchers, but they do have one thing: Splash Wall. Both Crab Lake Capital and Wahoo World have great splash wall spots all over the place. And they also have wide, flat, and easy terrain in mid, which is where the Glooga Dualies thrive best. Seriously, tossing a splash wall in these narrow corridors of Wahoo World or on these uninkable grates on Crab Lake make you a force to be reckoned with. And don't worry, even if you're using the Deco kit without the splash wall, you're still gonna have an easy time on these maps with your range. Also, don't forget that these are some pretty good Zuka maps as well. One other stage that Glooga players really tend to like is Manta Maria. Mid on this stage is perfect for the weapon, and you can control these entire street sections with your range and tossing out a splash wall. In a nutshell, if the map has a lot of wide, open spaces with some good, narrow areas for splash wall, Gloogas are going to have a cakewalk. The Tetra Dualies were the hardest weapon to cover for this list because the truth is, Tetras aren't particularly amazing on any map in this game. Sure, it's fine on a number of maps, but it doesn't greatly excel at any compared to the rest of the Dualies. But I'll still tell you what I personally think are the 3 best stages for it. The 4 dodge rolls really allow you to take advantage of slopey terrain, so just like the Dapple Dualies, Tetras thrive on humpback pump track. It's also very easy to flank on this map with both the left and the right sides, and if you know anything about Tetras, you know that your main objective is to draw attention. To probably no one's surprise, Inkblot Art Academy returns yet again. Tetras have a similar range and playstyle with the Splat Dualies, so it makes sense that it would also be good here. Being able to roll around the stacks, easily flank, and wreak havoc in this upper bats area of the map can be really advantageous for your team. Now, for the last map, I could just go with the basic, obvious answer and say Museum di Alfonsino, but you know what? I'm gonna have fun with this one. The most recent map added to the game, Lemuria Hub, feels really good with Tetra. Obviously, the stage is still new, so I can't say for certain, but as of right now, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that this is a top 3 map for Tetras. It's super easy to get behind the opponents, there's a lot of different branching paths with slopes that are wide enough to take advantage of with your 4 dodge rolls, and you can also get creative with the moving platforms and get some cool momentum in your fights. Do know, however, that these platforms can also really screw you over in a fight if it's moving against you, so do be careful with that. But overall, Lemuria Hub and Tetra Dualies feel like they were meant to be. Oh, and also, reef sliding off of the upper platforms in mid can be pretty good on this map, especially in splat zones. Last, but certainly not least, we have the Dousers, which are another long-range dualie. And yep, you guessed it, Crab Lake Capital is one of the best stages for this weapon too. Not gonna dwell on this one for too long, since it's good for similar reasons as the other long-range dualies, but one thing I do want to point out is that Douser Dualies tend to use run speed up in their builds, which can help you take advantage of the uninkable grates even further. Barnacle and Dime is a stage that Dousers tend to excel on, and that's because the map has a good amount of flat and open terrain, such as mid and the upper sides, along with some tight, slopey areas with the stacks to really take advantage of your fast turret mode. Dousers really enjoy maps that give you that mid-range sweet spot, alongside other narrow areas that allow you to comfortably dodge roll while maintaining good angles. Undertow Spillway being one of the weapon's top 3 maps might surprise you, but when you think about it, this stage perfectly caters to the weapon's strengths. Long, narrow routes to utilize your extreme range, you can reach the snipe area from the middle of the stage, great high ground near spawn allowing you to safely fire down at people in mid, and some spectacular dodge roll spots to catch opponents off guard with your long dodge roll, such as around these pillars. Alright guys, we've reached the end. Those were the best stages for every dualie in Splatoon 3. Again, just want to stress, everything I said was ultimately just my opinion, but do also keep in mind that the information provided in this video mainly came from experienced players that I reached out to. Take that how you will. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do me a favor and hit like, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. With that being said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.